Go for it. Dick
Cinnamon.
Reno, Monster Slayer.
Should have known. I should have known. Welcome to the latest episode of the Cinnamon. 81. I am the more mature host. Seed.
Oh man, it's
And
coming to theaters October 1st, 2023.
oh, my
Just
birthday,
talking
huh?
about movies. Just talking about movies, babe.
That's what I get on my birthday. What's it called? Dick Reno?
Dick Reno, Monster Slayer.
I said, wow. Yeah, you ended up on a whole different part of Letterbox.
I'm on
Which I
IMDb.
did
Thank
not
you very much.
realize that part of Letterbox exists. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. There's a
Yeah.
dude. There's a dude I follow that was like, well, now I'm just gonna see what other things are out there to watch. I was like, okay,
Jesus.
man, you do you.
Whole new
I don't
world
judge.
out there. That's a whole new
The
world.
poster that is up on IMDb for Dick Reno is very Monster Squad. So I don't know.
Like the movie Monster Squad.
Yeah, it's
Back when
like the font and everything is very Monster Squatty. Could
when
be fun.
Universal was doing their ill-fated Dark
Dark
Universe,
Universe.
I was like, if these motherfuckers don't build a Monster Squad, then what is it all for? Not is the answer to that question.
Yeah, I was about to say the answer was nothing at all.
Nothing. It built to the end credits of the Mummy, and that was about it. And one epic photo where I'm not sure they were all in the same room at the same time.
They
Anyways, this
sure
is
never were.
Cinnamon. Man, me, let's see, one some joined as always by the loquacious Douglas Davidson. How are you doing today, good sir?
Better now. Better now. I needed that laugh. Thank you very
There you
much.
go. That's what we're here for, man. We're here
And I'm out. That was it for
to.
me. It's
That's
about as
it.
good as it gets.
All right, come on, Thomas. Come on in. We'll do the next
Oh,
round.
oh, 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 you hit me where it hurts. Oh, ouch.
Um, it has been by crow flies about 2 weeks since we
Mhm.
did last episode, sir. In that span of hours, what new has tickled your eyeballs?
Well, I've watched quite a bit, and I want to highlight only two. Only two. I've covered quite a few films, and I was looking forward to discussing Creed 3 with you, but apparently you got KO'd before the start time of the movie and could not attend. No, we tried using smelling salts, all kinds of stuff. Just couldn't get you back up in action. So
Right.
I will
Thank you for
wait.
throwing the damn towel for me. That's what a
That's what I'm
good friend
saying.
does. That's what a good friend does.
No, it's too much. He's had too much. I don't. But since you weren't there, I'm waiting to discuss Creed 3 with you after you get the chance to see it. But if anybody has missed it and would like to find out about the movie in a spoiler-free capacity, that full review is on EOM. But what I will recommend is one is a documentary and one is a dramatic mystery that honestly you should keep your eyes out for. Both of these are from 2022, but are on the festival circuit and hopefully will get a wider release. The first one is a documentary called 26.2 to Life by director Christine Yu. According to Letterboxd, way they describe it, filmed inside California's oldest state prison, 26.2 to Life explores the transformative power of San Quentin's 1,000-mile club, in which incarcerated men train for and run a marathon on the dirt and concrete paths circling the prison yard. It is about 90 minutes, and the way that the documentary is structured is you are watching these men set up and then execute a marathon in the run in the prison, so 26.2 miles. As they are running, you are not only learning a tiny bit about their life inside San Quentin, but also their life in general and the rehabilitative process that running has helped them get through. It is fascinating, it is moving, and in particular, what I found interesting about it is it's not political in the sense of, well, any really description of the word. It's not trying to lean one way or the other. It's more about, I took it anyway. I read it as an exploration of what punishment versus incarceration. If incarceration is about someone serving time and potentially being rehabilitated to re-enter society, what does that look like? And this process of running is, for lack of a better term, the first step towards that. It is a fascinating watch, and it is a pretty moving watch as well. So, highly recommend taking a look for that if you get a chance to track that down. The next one is a film called A Man, directed by Kai Ishikawa. Hope I pronounced that correctly. It's based on a book, so this is an adaptation. The premise of this is that a woman, Rai, has met a new man. She is a divorcee. She's met this man. They fall in love. She already has a son by her previous marriage. She, with this new man who she marries, has a daughter. He then dies. And she finds out that the man she married was not, in fact, the man she thought he was. And so she calls on the lawyer from her divorce and was like, can you please find out what the truth is? So we're primarily following the lawyer on his journey to discover the real identity and the twists and turns that are involved there, while the wife is at home with her son, who is trying to figure out what is his identity now, if this guy wasn't who he said he was, and how she feels. And there's some really interesting ideas of identity, of love, about what's valuable, and it's all set at a period in Japan which is turbulent in terms of its relationship with Korea, and the lawyer just so happens to be Japanese Korean, or Korean Japanese. Yeah, Korean Japanese. So a lot of people he's talking to are just insulting the shit out of him, and watching him have to maintain his composure and control while talking with them just adds to an additional layer of the exploration. So if you get a chance to if you come across these, this one was A Man, and the other one was the documentary 26.2 to Life. Highly recommend them.
Have it, man. Incarceration. So that's in the first place. You want to add exercise on top of that? Fuck.
Well, and they talk about that, the fact that they're both the volunteers are from a actual running group. The volunteers that are either the main coach, Frank, or the people that help with the marathon and other things. They're from a nearby area, and they talk about how when you're out running, whether it's a marathon or something else, you've got the road, you've got some consistent paths, you've got all these things. But when you're running in the yard, everybody else is out in the yard too. So you've got to work around those people. You've got these, I think they said 60 to 90-degree corners. You've got all of these things because it wasn't designed to be a track. They turned it into one. So it's incredibly difficult what they do. Incredibly difficult.
Right on, right on. They got three movies I want to talk about. Man, let's get the most egregious offender out of the way first. Movie I do believe you very much enjoyed. It's talking about Cocaine Bear, sir.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen Cocaine Bear?
I have
Oh,
not. I'd like to.
I could have sworn that I'd seen a Cocaine Bear
You did
review
see
or
a review. It
something.
was Hunters,
Ah, it was that old crazy Hunter Howman. There you go.
which is why he said Cocaine Bear. I think his review started with something like Cocaine Bear. What is this? Hollywood Boulevard at 3 a.m.? Yeah, he had like two gay jokes in there, which he can pull off. I can't.
That's very much true. I'm not high on this movie. For those who aren't.
How'd you describe it? It was unbearable.
Oh yeah, yeah. That all jokes aside, that was completely unintentional until after I had written it, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, this works just fine. So I don't know if that was the old comedian in me just bubbling to the surface for a second. It was the spirit of Crystal Davidson entered my body as I was typing that. But yeah, not oh yeah, also not high on this. I didn't think about that either. Not a great movie, man. If you're wondering what this is about, this is loosely inspired,
Bear does cocaine, right?
but a true story, yes, of a lawyer turned drug smuggler who dropping packages of cocaine into the forest for pickup, pops out with the cocaine in a faulty parachute. Obviously, he does not make it alive to the ground. The bear
Oh, I'm sure he
finds
was alive when he hit the ground.
that's a
Not
good
long
point, yeah.
after.
I pushed him. It was the ground that caused the accident. Uh, Bear finds all this cocaine out in the woods. I do believe it's Georgia forest, Georgia National Park, and calamity ensues. They find the bear. dead, obviously, from I assume, the first bear cocaine overdose
Hmm.
on record. In this movie, we have a number of interweaving elements that that cross the bear's path, or the bear crosses their path. We have a story of a girl who skips school with her friend. Excuse me, a young lady who skips school with a friend to go fuck off in the forest. And it's her mom trying to find her because they realize that the school calls and they're like, "Hey, kid didn't show up today." Sorry, out here. Um, we have a third or a second storyline of the drug kingpin who was like, "Hey, I'm moving the Colombians drugs for them. We got to get these drugs back before the Colombians get our asses." That's played by Ray Liotta, and also that's on there, right? O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube too, in there as well. And then you have kind of like a third storyline of the cops who were tracking this drug kingpin played by Mayor Clay Davis. There's a lot of stuff that's happening all throughout this movie, man, and just none of it funny, none of
Oh,
it good. The gags don't really work. The CGI bear looks ridiculous, which I heard someone say on a podcast earlier that had the jokes worked well and landed, nobody would have cared that there was this ridiculous looking CGI bear. But because it's like they used to say whenever we had compliance inspection in the military, they're not digging all that hard until they find something. The moment they find something, that's when they
hmm.
really start digging. And then when you have just ridiculous premises and unfunny jokes, all the rest of it starts to just kind of the flaws are exposed. The editing is kind of all over the place. It doesn't work well for the timing of the movie. Like I thought Banks's direction was well, but the editing just does not work. Like it moves quick, but it's just a lot of shit thrown at the wall. Very little of it sticks. Uh, Acting, I mean, Carrie Russell did The Americans. It's a hot, tense drama. She's got some chops, and here it's nothing. Everyone's just coasting on. We have a funny premise. The funny premise will sell itself, and that's just not the case here. What could have been just a good short ends up being an agonizing 95-minute long movie, in my opinion. So this
That's a
wasn't
bummer.
quite doing it for me. Should be right up your alley, sir. Should be right up your alley.
Damn.
My second movie also kind of disappointing. No word. February indulgence. Marlowe. Marlowe with Liam Neeson's Iron Kruger, Jessica Lange. I don't think I talked about this on the last episode. Danny Houston, Alan Cumming, and therefore Douglas Davis decides cup of coffee. It
I
is
do love
so
him. He is so much fun.
Alan Cumming just he's the perfect amount of ham everything that he does, and I think he knows it and leans into it, but he never crosses the ham line. He never jumps the ham. Hey, some Colm Meaney for a, a tall, small cup of coffee. Yeah, it's a throwback classic film noir set in LA 1939 during the rise of the Hollywood studio system. Like you got your RKOs and stuff like that. There is talk of Hitchcock coming over to the States and all that kind of stuff throughout the movie. It is your classic noir setup. And Fatale comes the Rumble detective to find said person. And of course, the more he digs, the more he uncovers, the more you realize, oh no, the whole city's underbelly is in on it, right? It's Chinatown all over again. A movie that I also don't
I'm
like.
laughing at your description. I just want to be very clear.
There's no laughing at this movie because there's nothing worth laughing at in this movie.
Oh.
It's all the elements for a good noir there, and people who are taking any parts of Paprika know that I'm a huge fan of noir. Curate Paprika's Noir member collection last year. Thank you for Dark City, and I love the classic noir. It is something that has given way to other types of noir, like neo noir, neon noir, sci-fi noir, that kind of thing. We don't very often get these throwback slapstick noirs, which are what I fell in love with. And this one just doesn't work, man. All the elements were there, but those elements together do not make a tasty dish.
Oh.
Liam Neeson just kind of seems tired all throughout. There's some parts I'm like, oh, Liam Neeson's kind of cooking here. Some parts I'm like, man, he's just painting inside the lines this whole time. I think the direction it's decent. Like the whole movie coasts on the production design and costuming. Like they nailed that part of it. They get the noir. As I often say in my reviews, you got to have the story must be solid before you base anything else off of that. And the story here is just overly convoluted. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the halfway, you're just kind of confused of what's going on, and you're like, wait, this doesn't it's not adding up. If you're hard up for some noir, you just haven't seen a good one in a while, it might scratch that itch. But if you're like a super connoisseur and you're going in to watch it, man, you might want to temper your expectations because it just doesn't reach the heights that I was hoping for. So that could be expectations on my part, but all the elements were there, but those elements do not combine to make a great movie.
It's a bummer.
Sadly, yes, it is a bummer. I do believe it is already out of theaters. Last I checked.
Oh,
Um,
damn. Really that
yeah,
fast?
I was looking for something. I was looking to get my tickets for Operation Fortune earlier today, and I was like, didn't see Marlowe on here. My eyes might have skated over it though. Third movie I want to talk about, man, Sharper, Ellen, Full TV, Julianne Moore, Sebastian Stan, Justice Smith, Brianna Middleton, John Lithgow, depending on who you ask. Directed by Benjamin Caron. Hey, man. Um, it feels like a throwback like 90s thriller. Like back when 90s were at the heights of thrillers and there's like the game, stuff like that, where there's just
Mm.
you don't know who to trust, you don't know what's going on. In this case, everyone's fucking over everybody else. Everybody's hiding secrets from everybody else. There's games within games being played, and I love those kinds of movies. Um, add production design to that. There's some fucking sets throughout this. Acting is okay. I thought Benjamin Corn's directing was wonderful throughout this. And it's paced evenly. So when you get that new reveal, that reveal just leads to another question, which is how I think these things should operate. Third act kind of crumbles a little bit, a bit cliche-ish, but overall, man, I had a grand old time watching this movie, man. Sharper, if you got Apple TV, man, make a little bit of time. It's like a good weekend watch.
Okay.
You know, from work, you can cook up a little bit of food, sit down, watch that, man. You'll enjoy your evening.
And I hear Ted Lasso's coming back to Apple TV on the 15th. So, you could always, if you don't have the subscription and Ted Lasso's not enough to get the subscription, then you wait till Ted Lasso's all in, you get the subscription, you watch Ted Lasso, and then you watch some Sharper.
There you go. You watch 3 seasons of Ted Lasso, you watch Sharper, you watch one season of Severance. And if you like your science fiction brainy, which is what Severance is, that's
Hearing
a
good things about that. I've got
what does
too
that
many
call? It's a
shows on
double
the list.
entendre. There you go. It's a double entendre because the show also has to do with the brain. So if you like your sci-fi brainy intellectual, Severance was my number one show of last year.
Wow. We still
So
haven't
now
watched
here,
Andor, so we've got a ways to go.
oh man, and we're on the eve of Mando season three, and
That
the
we
return
are.
of Carl Weathers' beard.
Yeah, we got Mandalorian coming back. We've got to make time for. We haven't watched any of The Last of Us. We never played the game, so we weren't like hard up to watch. But we've
See, I'm
heard.
the opposite. Like this is like, oh, this is it's opposite of comics. Like that's the world I know. So when shit happens on the screen, I'm like, all right, I have a familiarity with this and what's going on. I'm intimately, knowledgeable of these characters. Now I get to be on the other side of that and seeing how other people react to it. And I have
Mhm.
like video game enthusiasts where I work at, and they're like, oh, this and this and this is direct. So it's weird being on the other side of that. I'm enjoying seeing outsider perspective. I thought
Well,
about playing the games going in, but I decided not to for that specific reason.
yeah, probably best not to. It's kind of like with an adaptation. If you're really interested in knowing the source material, maybe watch it after. But all I was saying is that we want to check it out. We've still got to finish Vox Machina. We just finished season 2 of Leverage Redemption. Like we're slowly getting through stuff. We'll get there.
Well, unless it's on HBO Max, it'll always be there for you. And what's always here for us is the wide world of film, movies that we always look forward
Because
to.
there's always movies coming out.
There's always
So we'll
movies
always have
coming
some
out.
to anticipate.
Dun, dun. Last episode, if you remember correctly, we put our button on 2022. We
Mhm.
talked about the movies that you might not have seen or heard of or might slip past your radar. So we have put our official stamp That's this episode on the year that was 2022. We finished it by Doug giving you two movies just earlier this episode that were 2022 joints that are on the festival circuit now. Now we turn our eyes to 2023 as we
Mhm.
end Q or rounding the end of Q1 of this
Mhm.
year. Movies that we are looking forward to. Something that's become a bit of a tradition on this year episode. I do believe this is our third or fourth time doing it, man. So I'm always happy to look to the future.
And you gave us a new rule this year, which I was actually very excited about.
I didn't know you'd go
Um,
for that.
what was that?
I didn't think you'd go for that.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
I was
I.
like, let's float this by him real quick.
Oh, no, 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 no. The rule what that he proposed was no franchises. And the way that you articulated, I agree completely. Nobody needs to know if we're excited or not for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I
Mm,
personally am very excited for that. I'm
mm,
not saying you are or aren't. I imagine you are as well. But
mm.
those are movies that most likely people know. So if it's a franchise film, it's already got a fan base. People are already well aware of Creed 3. I mean, MGM is selling the shit out of this movie in a number of different ways. And personally, I'm very happy with it. I look forward to other people getting to see it. So hopefully they'll that everybody listening, if you're interested, go check out Creed 3. Jordan brings his anime influence. That weeb, such a weeb. It's great. It's great. But anyway, but those films, they don't need our support. They don't need our help. So your idea of zeroing in on films that are first time whatevers is fantastic. Absolutely.
Man, no one needs to hear us gush about a new Mission Impossible or a new Indiana Jones. We know them shits already, man. Let's get some
We are
shine to
excited
some
for them.
other things. We are excited for
We
them.
are very excited for
Yeah, yeah.
them.
Let me go ahead and go first, and
Sure.
I'm gonna go ahead. I got a little bit of even with these new rules in place, I got some cheating going on my list. You go ahead and get my cheat on. There's a movie that coming out in July. Movies coming out in July. A movie that I like to call Barbie Heimer comes out in July.
You mean the Tenant prequel?
Yes, the Tenet prequel Barbieheimer, which comes out in July. Listen, they share equal space. I think this is poised to be. Pretty sure I said it on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. This is poised to be, and I don't know if you remember the back in whatever year those came out, 2010, 2011. It was the battle of the sexes. Eat, Pray, Love came out the same day as the Expendables.
Mm,
And it was they kind of both hyped it up as the which one are you gonna go see? Are you taking your wife to go see Eat, Pray, Love? Are you gonna stick it out and go see Expendables? I feel like it's got that kind of energy. Everybody on Twitter is kind of feeding into it, and the jokes have been great. Love has been great, and for the most part, what I've seen is everyone's like, "Oh, we're excited for both." And the
yes.
whole discourse is, "We don't know which one we want to see for. We don't know what's gonna." Greta Gerwig's Barbie, Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, Nolan, notably my favorite filmmaker, currently working right now. I'm always on board, whatever. I'm not a huge. Are you a biopic or biopic? Which one do you go with?
I tend to say both, but I've heard
Biopic.
that the proper way to say it does not rhyme with myopic.
Biopic it is. A supposedly a biopic about Oppenheimer, one of the dudes who is one of the main brains behind creating Big Bomb, right? You look at the cast list, it is absolutely fucking star-studded and packed out with every male imaginable in Hollywood that you can find.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to
We've
say anything. I have a cameo.
well, I mean, when you pop up on screen, I'd be like, 10 minutes early than done. He'd be in this movie.
Everybody's supposed to be in it.
Everybody's supposed to be in it. Just look at all who I'm not even gonna name all these names. You know who these names are. The teaser trailer has me immensely hyped. I, I he's never done a biopic before, so I'm wondering why this particular interested him, what he plans on doing with it. Why we know he loves playing with time, and I'm interested to see how time is going to play into this whole thing because I sincerely think it will. On the other hand, Greta
Backwards.
Gerwig backwards.
It'll play backwards.
It's going to start with an explosion and go from there. On the other hand, man, Greta Gerwig's Barbie. Gerwig made one of the best films of 2019, hands down, far and away with Little Women, and this is her follow up to that. is starring everyone that is not in Oppenheimer. And every other day it seemed like someone else was announced. And I just keep thinking that. So there's something in that script that makes people want to hop on. There's some kind of story there that I cannot wait to see. That first teaser trailer was utterly ridiculous, and I'm
Hmm.
hoping that that's the tone that they go for. If so, I'm going to be immensely delighted with this movie. Greta Gerwig slowly climbing up my director's ranks. Man, I'm very much interested in seeing that. This will probably not be a both same day for me because I'm hoping I will have already seen one of these via screener when they come out. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to both of these. And I gave them equal ranking on my list, and they come out the same day.
I'm actually now really grateful that I took Barbie off my list
There you
because it
go.
would have been awkward to for both of us. I too am excited to see that, but I've made a couple of jokes about this before on the show, off the show. I am curious, have you actually heard the theory about Oppenheimer?
That it is a Tenet sequel, a prequel.
Yeah.
I have heard that. I saw maybe like an article was talking about it, and I saw the headline, and I was like, huh, and then I went about my day. So I've heard that there is a theory. I have not heard what the theory is.
The theory is essentially that in Tenant, there's that everything started with Oppenheimer blowing the bomb, and that the reverberations. So people are wondering if perhaps what Oppenheimer will somehow connect to Tenet. Doesn't mean that it will, doesn't mean that it won't, but it's an interesting theory.
It is an
So,
interesting theory. I personally don't think it will, as he is not tied in or sequelized any of his original ideas. State, I remember when Tenet came out, it was a theory that it was to Inception. So while it is fun and interesting to think about, if that happens, I will be MCU post credits mind blown.
I was actually just checking Letterbox while you were talking about it, just in case that like Pattinson was in there somewhere. Like,
I don't think he is. He's one of those keep his name off the credits list.
he really is one of those actors that I didn't think much of because of honestly public perception, but he is such a phenomenal actor just in general.
I fucks with Pattinson, man. Loved him in Good Time, which
I forget the name of the movie you challenged me to watch that was set in Australia.
The
It was
Rover,
him and
Guy
was it Guy
Pearce.
Pearce?
Yep,
Ah, that
yep,
movie was
Guy
good.
Pearce. Yeah, The Rover. I like him in Batman. Loved him in Batman, obviously. I like the casual playboy affection that he gives off in Tenet. Very scars, very loose clothing, just very carefree. That's the word I'm looking for. I like
Mhm,
that. I'm liking that Pattinson kid. And on the flip side, man, uh, Margot Robbie continues to do interesting things.
mhm.
And her she signed off for Barbie, and I was like, well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. She looks like a Barbie. And then they're seeing, they got a man Candy Ryan Gosling as the Ken doll, and now they're seeing that there's different iterations and different races of Barbies. We have the Simu Liu Ken doll as well. Uh, just interested to see what they do with, I assume, will be an undercurrent of hopefully body positivity, image, size differentials, things of that nature.
Yeah,
I trust Gerwig to lead me by the hand through this story that she's telling.
I do. I
All
agree.
right,
I
right
agree.
on. What is your first story there, sir? Your first movie.
My first film wasn't on my radar at all. It apparently premiered at TIFF.
Uh-huh.
I think this past year, whatever. Um, I am not familiar with it, but Lionsgate's releasing it in April, and I've already marked on my whiteboard to do my damnedest to see if there's a way that I can cover it. It's from director Jalmari Helander, Sisu.
Yes, that is also that's I just sent an email about that a couple days ago.
There you go. There you go. I it hit my inbox and I was like, okay, it's Lionsgate movie. Premise of a guy who's a gold miner. He strikes gold. He's on his way to go deal with it and process it. And he runs into some SS dudes because it's set in 1944 Finland. and they hassle him and he murders them all. And it's like, who doesn't love a good Nazi getting murdered? Because fuck Nazis.
I hope the entire movie is the director just talking to the camera, saying what you said and saying "Good night, everybody." And I'm like, that's an A+
the
movie.
the trailer, first of all, this is from I think the producers of the John Wick movies. And when
Hmm.
you watch the trailer, um no disrespect to Angela Bassett whatsoever and her performance in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but a
Has
lot
she
of
not
people
given everything? Has she not given everything?
but a lot of folks that were taking issue with her nominations and awards consideration, they each had the same phrase of she gave good trailer. And I watched Sisu and I went and I looked at Crystal and was like, does this not give good trailer? I watched Sisu and went, I have got to see this. The use of the pull quotes, the clips that they used, because it's all about killing Nazis. And I'm like, fuck yes, and fuck these people. He at one point lures people into a um landmine area, and there's just dust, and all of a sudden we see a landmine come flying at, like, this giant circular thing come flying through the air, pop a dude on the forehead, and he just disappears, because that's what happens when a landmine hits you on the head. Yes, give it to me. It
I still
looks
have not seen this trailer. I read the synopsis and I said, one ticket for Daryl, please.
totally fair. Then in which case, maybe don't watch the trailer if you like go in as blank as possible with just me talking about it, being it. But I watched this thing and the action seems imaginative. The sequences that we get, granted they're clips, seem interesting and engaging, and it feels like less of a homicidal maniac bumps into even worse people type of thing and yay rah. Like there actually seems to be some interesting pathos here and stuff going on. So I dig it. I am immediately engaged and ready to check it out. I understand that it's incredibly violent and gory, so I perhaps will have some problems, but I would love to give it my level best.
Well, I
So,
will be giving it an extra half star just because of that.
but that is my first film releasing in April.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. I'm looking forward to this. My second film is also a half a cheat.
God damn, man. You hate it when people do this shit.
Sure do. This one, it's no, it's hard to call it a franchise. I don't think it's called franchise. It's just a very popular adaptation, man. Like I teased on the newsletter, this past newsletter that went out for Paprika. I'm very in the money for some more Three Musketeers. I am a huge, huge, huge fan of that work. Um, and I didn't really think about it until saw the trailer for these new adaptations that are coming out this year. I have not seen a French adaptation of this very French story. Everything I've seen has been with Brits or Chris O'Donnell. So it's going to be good to see the source material adapted by directors and actors who are intimately familiar with A, the source material, B, the mindset of the country at that time. I think they can bring an extra flavor that outside just can't do. Um, and this is being broken up into two Three Musketeers d'Artagnan, which comes out in spring, supposedly, and then Three Musketeers Milady, which comes out, I do believe, like fall time or something like that. I was
First of all,
interested.
it's Eva Green playing Milady, and you can't say it like Milady, like you're bowing with tipping a hat. You put some respect on Milady, because holy shit, she will fuck you up.
Yes, it will be three times Milady, and I cannot wait to watch this. Like I was saying, I was interested, and then I found out that Evergreen, her man candy in real life, Vincent Cassell, is going to be in there as well. And
They're
also, I do believe
together.
those. I do believe,
Good for them.
and everybody's recent darling Vicky Crepes will be in this movie as well. So yeah, I'm for this. Give me this French ass movie. And I'm going to walk into the theater with croissants for everyone, and I cannot wait, man. I love a good with the trailer makes it look absolutely fun, long, and engaging. And the fact that they're taking the time to stretch this out over two movies, because that is not small. Hoping they cover the things like the times where the Musketeers were dead broke and doing all sorts of not heroic things just to eat and survive, because those things happen in the book that generally doesn't happen in the adaptations. I'm looking forward to all of it, man. Both Three Musketeers D'Artagnan and Three Musketeers My Lady should be come out in France. I don't know when the US release is. I guess we'll have to see.
They should speed that shit the fuck up because I've seen that trailer too, and I want to watch that. My
Hell yeah.
favorite adaptation is the Disney one out of all of them, out of the ones that I've
That's my
seen.
least
And
favorite adaptation.
totally fair. I forget if I've read Dumas' work, but because if I did, it would have been decades ago. But there's something about I love the actors in that film, and it's so quotable. The flick of my wrist, I could have you in the stocks where I found you. With the flick of my
Yeah,
wrist, I could change your religion.
Oliver Platt is the best thing about that movie, I think. I watched it maybe
Where were
last
you?
year.
I was fighting something ugly.
Oh, I watched it for the action movie list that I'm making for 2024. I watched that. I watched the 1970s Three Musketeers, which I've said time and time again is my shit. And I watched The Musketeer, which is as good as I remember it being.
I don't remember if I've seen The Musketeer.
Challenge.
No, I'm just saying I
Uh,
can't remember if I've seen it. I can look it up.
it's great action scenes that surround a shitty story. Not a shitty story because it's Three Musketeers, but a shittily adapted story with
The one from
action scenes.
2001.
Yeah, 2001 with Yuen Woo Ping, the dude who did the choreography for Crouching Tiger, the choreography for this as well. And those action scenes are fucking dope. And there's just nothing else to that movie, unfortunately.
It's not listed on IMDb with the coordinator. I mean, Letterbox. I'll have to check, but I believe you that this one was probably not very good.
It is not. Oh, and I also watched that steampunkish one from Orlando Bloom from, how is that, maybe about 10 years ago or so. It is not very good.
You
Yeah,
really got to
lots of
start watching.
milk toast and mediocre Three Musketeers adaptations out there, which is why I'm so stoked for this French joint. I think they're going to be true to it.
It does look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
It looks
I'm, I'm
bombastic in a great way.
I'm hoping that that's not one of those cases of the best scenes in this giving good trailer. That's kind of what Cocaine Bear does. I'm hoping that's not
Oh.
the case here. What's your second one? There's
My second one is not a cheat in any way, shape, or form. It is a film that I've been looking forward to for some time. I'm not as familiar with this creator's work as I'd like to be. This individual did 5 centimeters per second. They've done Children Who Chase Lost Voices, The Garden of Words, and then two little films, Your Name and Weathering with You. Kato Shinkai Suzume. It released in, I think, Japan in 2022 at the end of the year. It's getting a screening at the New York Children's Film Festival in a week from when we're recording this, and then hits US theaters in April. I am super stoked for this. I love Your Name. Weathering with You, I have some problems with because the ending to me it doesn't go far enough. I feel like it sort of cheats itself to give itself a happy ending,
it's
which is why.
decapitations.
What was that?
Nothing. Keep going on.
But no, just watching it, I was really into it and excited. But then it's that whole we got to figure out a way to bring the person back to life or cure them or
Tie it
whatever.
up neatly.
Exactly. Whereas Your Name did it in a way that was fascinating because of the time shift, and that there's a certain amount of we can't explain this that we can allow for some things. But Still Weathering with You is a beautiful movie, even if I didn't jive with it. And so for this upcoming film, I am super stoked. The description is on the other side of the door was time in its entirety. Suzume, 17, lost her mother as a little girl. On her way to school, she meets a mysterious young man, but her curiosity unleashes a calamity that endangers the entire population of Japan, and so Suzume embarks on a journey to set things right. It could be great. It could be who knows what, but I'm going to show up for this writer director because of the stories I've seen. They've always been in some way inventive and creative.
Yeah.
So I need to see more of them. Shout Factory did do home releases of the films that I'd mentioned prior to Your Name and Weathering with You. I just haven't seen them. I just haven't
Right
seen them.
on. I am in the bag for that. We had talked about both Your Name and Weathering with You many a times, and I am a fan of Weathering with You a little bit more than you are.
Yep.
You are a fan of Your Name a little bit more than I am. But
Mhm.
either way, we both agree that that shit right there is the dopeness,
Yep.
and we need more of it.
Yep.
Good call, sir. Good
You.
call. And my final one is not a cheat. We'll be coming out towards the end of the year. Um, our brother in depravity, David Fincher, is back here to terrorize our world with a Netflix movie after Mank. I don't think he's being anything between Mank and The Killer. I'm a little bit higher on Mank than a lot of people on film Twitter were. Killer is an adaptation, again, from a French graphic novel that I have read, eponymously titled The Killer, about an assassin who he has a close call on a job and then starts to question life, who he is, what he wants to be doing, all that kind of thing. And that's one of those subgenres that I love is the bad guy finally trying to realize that maybe he's piece of shit and it's time to maybe not be as much piece of shit and all the drama because nobody has there ever been a movie tagline no one gets out clean because it needs to be. That's kind of what's going on here in this movie. It's a I think they're calling it a neo noir thriller, which lights up all the cocaine areas of my brain because that's one of my favorite
Would you say
subgenres.
that previously they were bare?
They were bare in, yes. They're now being filled with the good shit. Michael Fassbender is our titular killer here. It's kind of been a while since I've really dug anything Fassbender did. So I'm him in the hands of Fincher doing, I think, the genre that Fincher was born to do. I'm here for it. I am not as big a Tilda Swinton fan, but she is in this movie as well. Cannot wait. They showed maybe 2 seconds in a Netflix sizzle reel, maybe 2 months ago, a month ago at this point, and that 2 seconds of like a guy on a motorcycle, that's all it was. Had me in for it, man. I cannot wait. I've been trying to tell people about this graphic novel for years. No one has paid attention. So maybe now people will start buying it and checking it out. It's pretty damn dope.
See, what is fascinating about this is there's a movie I've talked about and a movie you and I on a previous show we got confused. Wait, are you talking about this one? Are you talking about that one? Da, 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 da. There's a movie that I saw last year at a film festival. I think it was Fantasia. It's either Fantasia or Fantastic Fest that I think Welgo is picked up to release in the United States at some point in 2023, adapted by a novel called The Girl Who Deserves to Die. It's called The Killer, and it's about an assassin. But it has a very different plot. I was just looking into it. It has a very different plot, and I didn't realize. I'm now a little bit more interested because the author of The Killer wrote the graphic novel. I'm going to butcher the original French name, so I'm going to just call it by the adaptation we got, which is Bullet to the Head,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
I don't have any bad remembrances of recollections.
I
But
thought I
that
still
might be
had
fun.
it. I think it was I donated a lot of my comics to my local library. I
Mhm.
think that was one of the ones that got donated, but I also have it digitally. So I'm planning on rereading that bad boy in the months coming just to refresh up on that story because I fucked with it heavily.
Right on. Oh, excuse me.
All right,
Oh,
that's it. Those movies we're looking forward to, man. Let's get into these challenges.
excuse me.
And
Excuse me.
oh, you got one more movie left. I'm
I
sorry, sir.
do.
My
Rude.
bad. That's very rude of
I
me.
want to be clear. I did not yawn because I was ready to wrap things up. I yawned because I've it's been a very long day and I
Does
have to
ready to
get up
wrap
at
this
6
up.
a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm not looking forward to this shit. But yes, I do have one more, and it's a movie that chances are people hadn't heard about. If you have, if you had heard about this film, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? You just stop keeping this information to yourself. I learned recently, and upon finding out about it, I immediately this shot up straight to my list of movies I can't wait to check out. Back in when was this? 2019, summer of 2019, I watched a horror movie called Loose, Luz, Loose, by first time director, if I remember correctly, Tillman Singer. Wrote and directed this film. It is a possession movie. It is fucked up. It is so good and so eerie and so uncomfortable. Vinegar Syndrome has it. Just fucking buy it. If that shit's your jam, just get it. But he has a new movie coming out called Cuckoo in the fall. And if I remember correctly, it's being distributed by Mubi. Mubi that at the moment has Decision to Leave and has some other stuff coming that is pretty great. So at least I say pretty great. I like Decision to Leave. But with Cuckoo, the description reads hide. Chased by a mysterious woman, 17-year-old Gretchen, who just moved with her family to an alpine resort after her mother's death, must uncover a conspiracy to save herself and her sister. Dan Stevens, Jessica Henwick, and a bunch of other fucking people. Hunter Schafer is in this as well. She's in the upcoming Hunger Games movie, and she's also in Euphoria. I am not familiar with her work because I have not watched Euphoria, but I understand other people have. And it's actually, I saw somebody commenting something about Hunter, and I didn't understand it. And then it tracked me back to Cuckoo, and I went, excuse me? Because Loose was absolutely fantastic. So again, this Tillman Singer, name of it is Cuckoo, comes out in the fall. The Loose is so.
Oh, you can tell he's got my man Martin's Sockers.
Who?
Martin Sockers. That dude's an asshole in everything I've ever seen him in.
I'm looking at Letterbox, so I don't know if you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at because I'm not seeing that name.
Yeah, I've seen on Letterboxd. He's fourth credited. For me, I see Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, Jessica Henwick, then Martin Sockers.
Oh! I misunderstood the name. I'm with you now. Yes, him.
Yeah, what a dick. I love him.
So, I mean, the cast does look fairly good. And this is from a writer director whom his previous film absolutely knocked my socks off. And the one thing I'm mad about with Loose is the fact that I bought it when it was on sale, and Vinegar Syndrome was having a sale. Only for like 2 months later, it was on sale for $10 instead of the 20 that I bought it for. I regret nothing, except it would have been nice to have an extra $10. So I have not made up money. But so that's a film. If you're not familiar with it, if you want to get a little weird, Tillman Singer, at least in his last film, got very weird, and it hit my wavelength. So I'm looking forward to seeing Cuckoo. And if it is being released by Mubi, then I'm going to be making some phone calls come September, October.
Well, those movie dudes get them on the horn. Right on, right on. Very nice, very nice. Let's talk about these challenges, man.
Can I go first? Speaking of weird and fucked up.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I was challenged to watch a movie by Thomas M. Wright. This is his second feature film. His second feature film. And was this a Netflix original as far as you know, or was this just a movie that came to Netflix?
Question. I'm not sure. I just saw it on Netflix. I don't know if it's an original or
not. Sort of hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah.
So at the moment, that's one thing I should have checked, and it just occurred to me. It's a film that's more or less a two-hander between Joel Edgerton and Sean Harris. There's a lot going on here. It's big mood. It is a heavy film. It is a psychological film. If you've had a hard day, don't put it on. If you've had a good day, don't put it on. I mean, if you want to hold on to those feelings, I would certainly recommend.
Want to wallow in your shit? Put it on.
Yeah, there you go. That's the perfect. It's a film called The Stranger, and it's about
two-hander.
Okay, I wasn't trying to make a pun there. But oh God. God damn it, Daryl. Um,
In your corner.
no, I was going for a Dutch rudder. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway.
Double Dutch rudder.
Now I've got Zach and Miri in my head. Uh anyway, back on track. So a film called The Stranger, it's a dramatic thriller in which two gentlemen spend a lot of time together, where one of them is an ex-convict and he's trying to get himself cleaned up, and he comes to meet someone who says, hey, I work with an organization that helps individuals or and works with individuals who have a criminal past, but you've got to be upfront and honest about everything. And he ends up, that gentleman is played by Sean Harris, and he ends up meeting this other one, Joel Edgerton, who becomes his point person within this organization as they are trying to sort of work within the group and figure out how to get this guy all set up. And they sort of develop a bit of a friendship, as it were, as close as two people that are pretty shady can get close. The trick is that Sean Harris is an absolute bastard accused of murdering a child, and Joel Edgerton is a undercover cop who is part of a sting operation to determine if they can find evidence on Sean Harris's character. This is not any kind of spoiler. This is in the description. So the whole movie is a cat and mouse game, and it is a big mood, and it goes in directions that are often difficult to predict, which made it even more interesting to watch. But I would recommend that one, you watch it at night. It is quite dark in terms of when the film takes place. And also, I do recommend putting on subtitles because there are moments when the music gets super loud and then everybody gets really quiet. So it was a big help for me having the subtitles on. I could not hear without them. I could not hear without my subtitles on. But I would
I feel
absolutely
like
recommend
watching
this.
it in the dark just enhances the mood too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The score was incredible. The score really was incredible in terms of setting the mood. And that was Oliver Cotias, if I'm pronouncing that right. And they worked on After Sun. Oh, Jesus.
Yep.
Oh, Jesus. Just stab me in the heart now. So that makes a whole lot of sense. But anyway, I would recommend this film. It came out apparently last year. It is streaming on Netflix in the US right now. And if you feel like watching two actors who are just so fucking good in everything that they do, Joel Edgerton and Sean Harris, go cue this up.
First of all, there's no actor in this world here grumpy Joel Edgerton. Like grumpy Joel Edgerton is a vibe all to himself,
That is
which
true.
made him his joyfulness and jolliness in Green Knight so off-putting to me because I've only ever seen him as grumpy Joel Edgerton or Uncle Ben. And
Well,
I am here for Sean Harris in everything that he does. That's my character right there.
we never got to find out what that Duke or whatever how he responded to finding out that his wife had jerked off the night he'd been so gleefully. We might have seen unhappy Joel Edgerton.
Gowan smartly got out of that situation before it got really weird. He said, take my
Oh
fox,
yeah,
I'm getting out
it
of here.
hadn't gotten weird before that.
Not by my standards. Yeah, it's a good movie. I think the thing that I I like most about it is we know that they set up this whole fictional shady criminal enterprise to lure this man in, but we the viewer are never actually shown what Sean Harris thinks they're supposed to be doing. Did you take note of that? Like that's all very nebulous. You don't know if it's supposedly drugs. It just seems like they kind of give him an envelope of money and say, go take it to that guy over there. And he thinks he's working his way into this organization. When the whole time they're not really doing shit worthwhile.
Nope.
And find that incredibly interesting. That like we got halfway through it, I'm like, wait a minute, they give us supposed to be doing here? I don't know how he didn't pick up on that, or I'm assuming that's a very deliberate choice. Or
it
if they are doing stuff and it just happens off screen.
and that's the thing is with the film, you sort of forget that there's that element, but the way that they tell the story, it never feels like it needs to be prominent. It's not significant to the story for us to see that part. It's only how they interact together. How are they developing that relationship, and how does that relationship impact Joel Edgerton's character? So, yeah, it's creepy. It's a creepy fuck movie. So
Yeah, yeah,
thanks.
you're quite welcome, sir. That's one I caught on the late night when it was just kind of. I think I was on hour five scrolling through Netflix, and I was like, "Let me see what this is about." You gave me a joint called JSA Joint Security Area from
Mhm.
2000, directed by esteemed director Park Chan Wook.
Mhm.
The Vengeance trilogy is how I know him best. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, oh boy. Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. Characters from two of those movies are in this here movie. Um, Most notably, Song Kang Ho, which some of you might know as the dad from Parasite, or the Bumbles Fuck Pop from Memories of Murder. It is a good fucking movie. For those that don't know what the hell's going on, this takes place demilitarized zone, 30th parallel between North Korea, South Korea. Both sides, if you don't know about 30th parallel, have offices where they just look at each other all day to make sure no one is doing any kind of shady shit on the other side. And this is the story of what if two of the night guards started kind of interacting. Find out that maybe their differences aren't as much as the little machines that made them out to be, and they befriend each other. And the South guy starts hanging out with the North Guard and the North Guard's friend and the North Guard shack, and then eventually the other South Guard starts hanging out. So the four of them were just chopping it up and mixing it up. And what we see at the beginning of the movie is something horrible has taken place here.
Mhm.
Sounds like a whole lot of bullets were flying around. We know that our main dude got injured. We don't know how. We don't know the circumstances between it. And so the vast majority of this movie is an extended flashback showing the progression of these four and their relationship, while kind of interspersed with present day little bits of business of how the investigation is going and all that kind of stuff. And it's just one of those perfectly set up movies where you're like, but what the fuck happened? That's what you're hinged on the entire time. And when you finally get to see what happened, it's not what you think happened that happened. You kind of it kind of leads you down roads of, oh, I think I know where this is going. I kind of see where the pieces are being moved and close, not quite. It is engaging. It is gripping throughout. Once the water boils over the pot there at the very end, and you see how it all goes down, you're like, oh, this is fucking wild. And it's just a good movie about people finding commonalities despite all the odds stacked against them and how that can have positive and adverse effects on them. Great damn movie, man. Wonderfully paced, wonderfully plotted out. That movie's great.
I was not familiar with it in the slightest. So let's see. I reviewed this in 2021. I was very fortunate and was sent a review copy for restoration from Arrow Video. So that's what you have. I
Yeah.
think it's a 2K restoration. Um, if you like Park Chan Wook's films, whether you buy it full price or you wait for an Arrow Video sale, just snag this. I mean, first of all, the bonus features alone, you get some great behind the scenes information there.
We'll be
There's a really
investigating.
interesting essay in it. Um, I haven't looked at it myself in almost 2 years. Uh, Holy shit! A little over 2 years ago, I published. I watched this movie. I didn't realize that. We timed that pretty well. Happy
Yeah.
anniversary! But
Happy anniversary, Jesse.
uh, it is so unexpectedly good, particularly because you know that from the beginning that it's a bit of a murder mystery. What sort of political event happened here that members of both sides are dead and on one country's side? But it ends up being so deeply profound and human and affecting that there is often memes occur in our community and in our they're more prevalent now I think, in a lot of ways than they were before. There's certainly things that are meme like, the way that we pass down a song that we like to, say, our children, and then it becomes a thing that we share with our child. That's a meme. It's that sharing and giving it a new meaning and passing that down. But there's a moment with a photograph in this film. And if you see that film, if someone online is just like, if you know, you know, and they show that photo, your heart fucking breaks. And it's so beautifully done. In fact, while you were talking about it, I went, you know what, fuck it, and I went into my Netflix account because I still get DVDs, even though I haven't watched those. The two that I have since December, I haven't touched them yet.
Let's get you to bed, Grandpa.
Yeah, I know.
In my
But
days.
but there was a time you could rent DVDs. Sure. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. It's all right. No, you can't. I just went and added Thirst Stoker, Lady Vengeance, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, and a few others onto my DVD.
Hold the communications device. There's DVD of Lady Vengeance you can get through Netflix because I certainly can't fucking buy it anywhere for American players.
Let's see. Let me check my queue because I didn't actually look at it. I just went and added shit. And yeah, Lady Vengeance, they have a DVD.
My oh my oh my. I own accidentally two copies of Mr. Vengeance. If you wanted, I can give you to you. I
Let me watch
cannot
it
find.
first. Let me watch it first.
Okay, all right. I cannot find Old Boy or Lady Vengeance for American Blu-ray players anywhere. But Lord knows I've seen Old Boy enough times. Um, yeah, Lady Vengeance is the one that eludes me the most, and it's the one I've seen the least too. I only saw it once, about 15 years ago, so I've been fiending to see that movie again. And when I saw the woman who was doing the investigation here, she is the main woman that is wronged in Lady Vengeance, and this is
Really?
her 5 years earlier because I think Lady Vengeance is '05, this is 2000. So yeah, it's her in a completely different setting than what I know her as.
Well,
Uh,
Lady Vengeance looks like it can be rented on Mubi.
What movie, eh? All right, then we gotta start giving this movie an investigation.
But I'll take a look around. I thought you could get Lady Vengeance somewhere, but maybe not.
Everything I've seen on Amazon, like for Region One players, is all bootlegs.
Yeah, that's not
That's
so
not
good.
what you want. Not what you
That is
want at
not
all.
what you want.
The fact that there's a mystery within a mystery here, like you're spending the whole time trying to figure out what the fuck happened, and then even within that, there's a whole like sub mystery of there's one unaccounted for bullet. All this, and you're like, wow, what the fuck happened to this one unaccounted for bullet? So good, damn good. 4 stars on the old box over there. If that gives you any indication, listener, what you want to get down on.
It's a hell of a movie, and honestly, if you, I came into joint security area having only seen Handmaiden. Handmaiden, I think, was my favorite movie of the year that it came out, if I recall correctly.
Right on.
Oh no, I'd seen Old Boy. Excuse me, I'd seen Old Boy, and then I saw Handmaiden. But I haven't seen any of the other films. I'm going to work on that. So getting to joint security area, I was like, okay, I've seen two of his films, and they're super sexual and fucked up. I imagine this will be the same. It was not,
No,
but it was still
no, it is
so
not.
good.
I mean,
Just
I dug it all the way through, sir. It's interesting seeing the story set there where it's from before. So it's about business there.
I am just delighted you enjoyed it because apparently I've been on a run of giving you movies and I'm like, I hope he likes it. And you're like, why you got to fart on him?
Giving movies or Leslie's like this. Did you offend him or something? Did you piss him off?
I
No,
never
no.
share movies to fuck with someone. And if I am, I let them know, okay, this movie is like, this is a bit of a joke here. I think this movie is ridiculous. You'll probably hate it. Have a good time. Like, I'll let somebody know if it's a bit of a gag. Like Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I haven't seen that movie probably since I bought the DVD. I loved it in theaters. I haven't watched it since. I would probably watch that as a gag, but now.
Yeah.
But I would not
Yeah.
give it to somebody and be like, I bet you can't wait to watch this martial arts masterpiece. He fights a
Uh,
fucking cow.
you're on a rope right now because I forgot what it was we were just talking about before we hit air that you'd given me last episode, but that shit was good too. So keep it right the hell up,
Nope,
sir.
nope. Last episode I gave you Glorious, and you made fart noises about that. Before
Oh, what
that
was
was Running Out of Time. You
there we
did like that
go.
one.
Let's
Super
running out
Pets
of
you did
time.
not like.
Absolutely not.
Let's see. I keep notes, and by the way, so you guys don't think that I'm like, oh, I'm keeping track of the movies he thinks are shit. No, I have show notes.
He's also keeping track of the movies that I think are shit.
No,
But
you liked Real Genius. I think you liked Dope Show.
I don't you. I was about to say, yeah, I have the criterion. I remember that you gave it to me.
Yeah, yes, it did.
Uh,
The great Criterion.
wild Stephen Ewan performance on that one, man. Yeah, that's it, man. That's it for 81 of the Seattle Mail.
Woo.
We keep this thing right on a turn, man. I would assume that next episode or next time we hear these flavorful voices, we will be trapped in a non-disclosed bunker for 6 days.
Oh shit! Is it about that time?
About that time, start to pull out your camping gear.
Oh, and daylight
Kiss your wife and
savings
kids.
is about to begin. So, oh god, it's actually going to be 7 hours in a bunker.
7 hours in the bunker, sir. Our Oscars, our Oscar fourth, fifth time doing our daily Oscar mini episodes will be, I assume, we'll be doing next here at the Cinnamon as we do our run up to the 90, whatever this is, third annual Academy Awards. But for now, man, just take it easy. Keep watching movies, man. Y'all have a good one out there.
How is it time for the Oscars already?
Bye, people.
Watch more movies, folks. Watch more movies.